Okay, cue the dummy. Here we go here. And it's hard working without Leah, you know. She doesn't have her mom's spit cleaning us up.
They're very different when she's not here. So
we really miss you, sweetheart.
I got to put my own mic on and everything.
I have to say something from the local show that I didn't say. Community is community. We're driven. You navigate, we drive. Right?
That's right.
So I have to say that because I forgot to say it on the local show. But community across Canada is
communities.
Thousands of them. And we're brought to you by Canadian Tourism, the National Tourism Board, and we promote Canadian tourism. This is Air Radio News and sports and banter with Big Daddy and Lee.
Pretty much, and we're coming to you on location from the Appalachian Public Drink House. And we've got a great special this weekend coming up for Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
Just want to read this off as Leah had sent it to me. Spoil your loved ones with a 3-course meal from this weekend till Monday, the February 14th. It's your choice of crab cakes or 4 cheese, or you got desserts. $39.99 per person. Call for reservations right now at 905-877-9888. And you and your loved ones for $80 can have yourself a fantastic 3-course meal. Main course, you've got choice of pork schnitzel, giant Yorkshire, salmon Wellington, and all entrees come with mashed and seasonal veg. So very, very cool. Right here at the Appalachian Public Drink House, the little room that rocks. 905-877-9888.
Now I've got my little $1 dollar store timer that we forgot to turn on. Yeah. So I figure we've been on in about 3 minutes.
As long as we're close, you know.
Well, we have to know, you know, when we don't have Leah here.
We don't have Mom
here. Doing here. And we've got our fries with gravy, the world famous Appalachian French fries with gravy. And all right.
I'm enjoying the carbs right now. So.
Okay, the big story, I guess, is the truckers. Still going. They're still there. I don't like the fact there's kids involved, but
that's a disturbing.
Kids don't belong there.
No.
Leave the kids at home if you're going to sit there and
drop them off with grandma and grandpa.
Why take them on this ridiculous? And these trucks they're all running with their gas, constantly, and the constant honking, of course. Ottawa's police chief states additional police resources on the ground are the answer to cutting off fuel supplies. That's what they're doing now. They're cutting off the fuel supplies really it's the only way to do it. They're not going to leave. And I'm not on either side. I just want to end all this crap. Downtown core has been a mess. The police chief has been pulling his hair out, and Trudeau is sitting there behind his blinds, pretending it doesn't. I don't usually have political comments on the show, but get off your ass, Mr. Prime Minister, and at least say something, or at least talk to these guys who obviously are a little pissed off. I've never seen my country so pissed off in my life as I have right now.
In Montana, they were on horsebacks and trucks and tractors holding Canadian flags. This is how far this impact has reached.
It's gone around the world. I mean, India media in Calcutta, I was watching the other day, because I surf the world, of course, and see what other countries are talking about, and they're laughing at us. They're not laughing at us. They're laughing at our Prime Minister and the fact that he's ignoring us, which is ridiculous. Stand up, be a man, and talk to people at least. You might not have a good conversation with them, but at least listen to the truckers and listen to what they have to say. Now, all these other. Oh, my coffee. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thanks, Tammy.
Oh, she's the best.
She's the best.
Yeah.
Do you want milk?
Such a nice. Yeah, I can take it black. Doesn't matter. But let's get this. The Ottawa. Let's get the kids back home with the trucker families and.
Well, I heard even child services were brought in.
You can't have kids.
You can't be doing stuff like
that.
And
stop trying to get gasoline to the truckers. You're only going to get yourself into trouble.
Yep.
And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but just let's get rid of this crap and get on with it.
I think the biggest thing a lot of people like you and I sitting on the fences is that we don't really know. Well, we do know now why they're there. but that wasn't the intention of going. It's kind of changed and progressed as the last 2 weeks have gone on. That it started as, about the vaccine, the anti-vaccine for the truckers.
Yeah.
And then it turned into this other thing, and then it turned into this whole other thing. And
It's been taken over by other people, and I support the truckers, but who else is in there stirring the pot? You know,
But like
and
I
why?
said,
And why are Americans here stirring the pot?
well, that you have that aspect. You've got the Ambassador Bridge. We're going to be talking a bit about that. You've got that situation
Busiest
going
one.
on. You know, and the thing is they were angry about the fact that the Canadian government had told them that they needed to be vaccinated to cross the border. Well, you needed to be vaccinated to cross the U.S. border as well. So fighting that fight was pointless.
Look at it from the top. Sort it out. This trucker takes this. This trucker takes this.
Yeah.
Nobody has to cross a border. Have our guys work here. Have their guys work there. What the hell is the problem? Get it to the border. Have another truck pick it up and take it. Can't we do that? What's wrong with that?
Well, the Conservatives have brought the cause of the trucker convoy protest to the floor of the House of Commons, putting forth a push for the federal government to present a plan to lift all federal COVID-19 mandates while requesting for the blockades to finally come to an end.
Well, the RCMP is getting involved.
Yeah. I believe the time has come for you to take down the barricades, stop the disruptive action, and come together. The economy that you want to see reopened is hurting, mentioned interim Conservative leader Candice Bergen in the House of Commons on Thursday morning. She's been pretty vocal, actually, for being an interim. It's been very vocal about it. But like you said, I think the biggest concern is the fact that our Prime Minister has just kind of put his tail between his legs.
Where is he? I mean, he should be there, at least talking to, let's get some talks going on here. Don't just ignore, if your kid, you run a household and your kid is upset, you go up to his room and you talk to him.
Yeah.
You don't leave him sitting in his room for 2 weeks.
Stomping around.
Destroying
the place.
At least go and make a foundation of talking, you know what I mean, and start something.
Yeah.
Because Mr. and Mrs. Government, we're pissed. I'm not just saying the truckers are, the whole country has had enough of COVID, and I'm not saying that's Trudeau's fault or the government's fault, but
I think there's been a lot of...
listen to what we're saying to you.
Yeah. There's been a lot of, again, wishy-washiness on their part.
And now there's another blockade that started up in Emerson and Manitoba, and the RCMP are going to have to go in there, and it's just a week of just ridiculousness, face-offs. I'm not moving, yes you are. I like the face-off, the other kind of face-off.
Exactly.
Can we just play a hockey game, as I always say, and resolve all this?
Well, as we're still on this topic, we want to be talking about the interesting thing that's been going on with the GoFundMe page, as it finally closed its doors on this movement with just over $6 million sitting in an account right now. As of mid this week, the group raised, like I said, just over 6.3 million US.
That's just the second one now,
Yeah,
right?
From over 69,000 donors, which describes itself as, as of Tuesday afternoon on the Give, Send, Go site, which is the Christian crowdfunding site. They've raised over $6 million as well. And they're stating at this point that the Canadian government has no rights to this money. They can't go in and block it and protect it like they did the GoFundMe page. Well, governments do control your money, people, just so you know. And when you're talking millions and millions of dollars, a government will be coming in and having its hand and say what goes on with that money.
Our government has teeth.
Yes, and the U.S. government has even bigger teeth.
That's right.
So if you're dealing on that aspect that you're thinking nobody can come in and play with this money, you're talking over $6 million. The U.S. government is going to want to be involved.
What concerns me is the big bridge, the main bridge that
the Ambassador Bridge.
25% of our trade with the United States is being blocked too. And the Windsor-Detroit bridge is one of the mainstays.
And now because
Manitoba
of it,
too, and Alberta.
Well, now because of it, they're all moving over to Queenston, Lewiston, and stuff like that. So those ports are now becoming stupid busy because the overflow is going over there to Buffalo.
Exactly.
Right. So you got people that are just bed up, like you said, Russ. And I agree with them. I
don't
too.
agree with the kids being there. And,
That I don't,
okay, we've made our protest now. It's time to go home, take everything down. And but believe me, people, those that have been out there with good intentions. I'm not talking about the assholes who want to create trouble and deface our Terry Fox memorials, etc., etc. I'm talking about the good people who really want to send a message to Trudeau. Mr. Trudeau, can you please listen to us? Because we're trying to talk to you in the nicest possible way, but after a while, it doesn't turn out to be so nice, which is exactly what happened.
This is what's happening.
You're not talking to your people, okay? And other countries are laughing at that fact. And I've never been a big fan of yours, but I won't call you down on national media. I'm not that kind of person. But you have to wake up to this one and listen to us, the people of Canada, who have a message
That's
for
your
you.
job. You're supposed to listen to the people of Canada.
That's your main job. This isn't a teaching course in school. This is a country, for Christ's sakes. And we have a lot of pissed off people in this country. And the truckers, they're back at work, God bless them.
Yep.
Cowboys of the road, I love the truckers. Without the truckers, we'd be screwed. We wouldn't get anything.
Nope.
Rail.
You'd be loading up the back of your Hyundai with
That's
a lot
right.
of crap.
You got to remember, I know people move things by rail and by boat and other forms, but you're talking the major, big kahuna.
It has to
is
go
the trucker.
from the boat and the rail to a truck.
That's right.
A train is not coming to your home to drop off your groceries.
Exactly. And the boys and girls, the cowboys of the road, they're back at work now. And those of you that are still there, we need you back at work, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Time to go home.
Time to go home. We've got your message, and I agree with them. I'm pissed too. It's just it's not the right way to do it.
No.
And as the Conservative leader said, it's time to get back to work and back to and get our kids back in school and out of the downtown Ottawa area, especially those poor bastards in Ottawa.
Oh God, yeah.
Who have been literally
Like at least in Toronto, they figured out how to block off Queen's Park in Toronto because they just put buses in the way of so you can't access it. Whereas with Ottawa, they didn't prepare any of that, so the trucks got downtown. Well, now you can't move them. Right?
and the things that you don't realize about downtown Toronto, especially, I think Ottawa is the same thing. There are hospitals down there within earshot of your horns, which you aren't allowed to blow anymore, thank God. But can you imagine over a week of that constant noise, a little child in sick kids laying there with cancer, having to put up with that noise and explain to a little child what's going on?
Yeah. See, they didn't think of that stuff.
And the people, the seniors, there's people living there.
Yeah.
Seniors, kids, people in their 40s, their 50s, normal people. Who are trying to get some sleep.
And have already put up with enough bullshit.
Did you see the guy that lost it on? He says, I haven't slept in 3 days, come here, you guys. And I could see his pain. The poor bugger wanted to get some sleep.
That's a shame.
Can't escape it. But hopefully things will resolve this week.
It's bad when their own Liberal MPs spoke out against Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and other provincial governments about pandemic policies and politicians and the handling of the continuing trucker convoy protests that have been going on. Pardon me. Joel Lightbound, a Quebec MP, held a press conference on Parliament Hill where he stated that he thinks those concerned about COVID-19 policies have a legitimate concern and it should not be dismissed. I agree. Citing the impact on Canadians, mental health, families becoming divided, and people losing their jobs over decisions not to get vaccinated, Lightbound mentions he thinks political leaders are unwilling to adapt. And I think that a lot of people feel that way, but it's just to have a Liberal MP come out and speak against his own party that way.
One thing I do is I'm not a big political guy. I report on politics.
Well,
you're a conservative. I don't care either. But
I just want somebody to run our country.
I just want somebody to run our country, and Mr. Trudeau, come on, let's.
And especially considering it hasn't even been a year since he was elected.
You mean that election that cost us how many million and ended up being the same
result?
Same result.
The definition of insanity.
I don't understand why they elect, but that's old hat news now. But we voted you in again. Come on.
Yeah.
And now all this. But we are. You may think this is only on the CBC and CTV and the Canadian media. This is all over the world, my friend. This is an Australian newscast. It's on American. The CNN did a whole show on Canada. They love this stuff because it's ratings fodder for them.
Well, this is why
they love it.
It's so, this is why I like what you and I do with our news, is that it's not about the drama and the traumaticness and scare tactics or any of that stuff. We have fun with it. We joke around a little bit with it because we want to make it lighthearted because of the situation is just a shitty situation. So let's try and make it a little lighthearted and not be so dramatic about it.
Yeah, we sit here eating our Appalachian fries with gravy.
And my diet root beer and your coffee, and we're good. Life is, what it is. And
now we get off this trucker thing because, God, we've been half the show talking about the truckers. Now we have to talk about COVID, but a little bit. But the Quebec government put forth a plan getting out of the current lockdown. All the provinces and territories are starting to slowly, as Ontario goes, so goes the rest of the country.
Yeah.
I keep saying that.
We're actually behind on a few of them, actually.
Yes, we are. But the Quebec government put forth a plan for getting out of the current lockdown and for how to learn to live with COVID over the long haul. It plans to lift nearly all public health restrictions by mid-March in Quebec. Premier François Legault mentioned several measures will be lifted as early as Saturday, including those imposed on restaurants and private home gatherings. So they're loosening it up in Quebec. And Quebec has really been the toughest on COVID.
Exactly. They've had,
they're not messing around.
No, they've had some of the biggest battles throughout Canada as well. Well, even Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston stated that the province will start easing some of the COVID-19 restrictions effective Monday and will continue to do so as they phase in moving forward. The reality is, the more we let COVID control our daily lives, the longer we're going to see negative impacts, especially on our children and our seniors, mentioned Premier Tim Houston of Nova Scotia. Like I said, you've got Alberta and Saskatchewan now that are lifting the mask mandates now, I think, as of next Monday. We're going to start to see that happen.
I'm not going to get rid of my mask yet.
You and I talked about that off air, that, I think you're still going to see a fairly high percentage of people stick with the masks when they're in the stores and stuff.
When I'm in a closed environment with somebody I don't know.
Especially, especially driving a cab.
In a car, you have to have, I haven't had a cold in 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's got to be because
I would, but.
Here we go. Things are loosening up across the country. Ontario residents, by the way, they can now grab a free box of rapid COVID-19 tests at selected grocery stores, pharmacies across the province. Walmart was charging $35.
You had to buy 35 doses. Yeah. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but
they get their hands slapped quick.
Yes. Ontario government will make about 5.5 million tests available each week, and distribution will be limited to one box, which is 5 tests per household per visit there. So Ontario government, 5.5 million tests. That's a lot of tests.
Yeah.
And it's free. You don't have to pay $35 to get it.
Nice try, Walmart.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
Well, as we're talking about more and more provinces, like I said, Saskatchewan plans to take away its COVID proof of vaccination and masking policies over the next month. They're going to do it over the next month.
Yeah.
Premier Scott Moe said the proof of vaccination policy will be eliminated as of February 14th. And during a press conference, he mentioned this on Tuesday, and masking will remain in effect until the end of February. But that's pretty quick to end those. That's so Valentine's Day, you don't have to have proof of your QR code or proof of vaccination. And it's.
I'm getting a little optimistic about the spring, but I'm scared to be.
I know.
I'm scared to be.
Let's not go there yet.
we can slightly get back to normal again,
I
or are you
don't
gonna?
know.
That's the problem, you know. You don't know if these people are gonna lock you down again. You know,
all of a sudden, are we going to get slapped in the face again? You know, like it's,
the bar business. I was talking to Manny the other day, the owner of the Appalachian, where we are, and he's so frustrated because he gets so excited, Manny. You know, it's his baby.
They stock up.
Exactly. They stock up this, that, and the other. All of a sudden, oh no, the numbers are going up. You got to shut your doors again, Manny. Come on. And I'm speaking. I'm bringing Manny up as a representation of the entire country. That's pissed, just sick and tired of it. And how much money have the restaurant business lost? How much money has the fitness business lost? It's nobody's fault, but let's get them back to work. Let's get them
absolutely.
back. Let me get my hair cut where I can have a nice shave, proper one, instead of me doing it in the mirror like this. You know, because I don't know about you, but my barber won't touch my face.
No, they're not allowed to.
He won't.
Yeah.
He'll do my hair like up here, but down here I look like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some barbers are doing it, but a lot of them aren't
They're not
supposed to be
They're
doing
not
it.
supposed to do that. And I understand that. Can you imagine being a dentist and having to do this? You look like a spaceman in there.
Thanks.
There's the old bird song coming on. Mr. Spaceman.
My buddy Ken, my bass player, he had to go to the dentist the other day because they were going to pull one on him. Well, now he's got to go for a root canal, and I'm like, ooh.
I was talking to my buddy Kenny Hayes. You probably know Kenny.
Yeah.
Local guy in town. We always laugh and joke around when we get together. And he was telling me about a story. This is right out of the blue. He says to me, we're talking about doing crazy things when we were younger. He says, I jumped out of a car at 50 miles an hour once with all my buddies in the back. I said, why did you do that, Kenny? He said, a song came on the radio that I didn't like. You know what that song was? Karma Chameleon by the Culture Club. I laughed so hard. Kenny, I had to mention that in the show because, of course, we're a music station as well. But those fun times that we had with friends before COVID, you know, we can't jump out of cars anymore or fight in bars.
Back to it so soon.
I can't.
But again, we got live music. Like I say, we're in the little room that rocks. We're in the Appalachian Public Drink House in Georgetown, Ontario, Canada. And as you see behind us, the stage is all set up. Live music's coming back. We're so stoked about that.
And we got our acting dinner jackets on, of course. Now, Ontario Premier Doug Ford ready to consider regulations this week to speed up the economic reopening timeline in the middle of pressure from local and provincial politicians. A lot of the local mayors and councillors and ours included have been on the case with the Premier, and it's worked. It's worked. Doug is the head of the province, but he is guided by people that advise him, and our local mayor here, Mayor Rick Bennett, he got right in his face and said, "Listen, Mr. Premier, my local businesses are suffering. And he's getting that from every mayor across Ontario, of course,
as he should,
and politician. So we're loosening up. Let's hope it doesn't come into a train wreck again.
Fingers crossed.
Anyway, so are we still
switching over stories a little bit here. New satellite imagery picked up by CNN shows that a huge base which held Russian tanks, artillery, and other armor near the Ukraine border has been largely emptied, with the equipment apparently being moved much closer to the border in the last recent days. So they're still getting prepared. The base is at Yelena, southeast of the city of Smolsk, and some 200 Smolensk, right?
Comrade.
Some 258 kilometers from the Ukraine border. Large amounts of weaponry were taken there late in 2021, including 700 tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, and ballistic missile launchers as well.
This isn't a couple of kids fighting in a gang in a neighborhood. This is major superpowers going at it. And the Russians and the Chinese seem to be sleeping together now. Yeah. And then you've got NATO. And Putin's not happy with NATO. He doesn't like NATO's... NATO being in Europe and et cetera, et cetera. The Ukraine they're not a member of NATO yet. And the fact, I think the whole thing is NATO, the Ukraine are thinking of joining NATO and Putin doesn't want that.
Yeah, I think that's the basis of it all.
And I think, I hope he's playing cat and mouse. I really do. Because this could be a nasty war, and that could creep into another world war.
The new weaponry we have out today scares the hell out of me.
Exactly, and we're not only we have COVID to worry about, and our truckers, and now we got to worry about Russia and the United States pissing each other off.
Yep.
So this is above. This is the world powers going at it. You just got to sit back and wait for what's going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
That they seem to think that mid-February he's waiting for the ground to thaw a little bit. What does that mean? But that's what I heard CNN say.
That'd be even muddier than it would be now.
Hey, it was the same in the 40s when they were fighting in World War II. And it can get pretty nasty in the European mountains there, buddy. In the wintertime.
Damn right.
It can bite you in the ass. So it's not great weather conditions at the moment. But let's hope that, White House National Secretary Advisor Jake Sullivan stated Sunday last week that Russia might invade Ukraine any day. He actually came out and said that.
Wow, that's
launching
a bold statement.
Launching a conflict that would come to an enormous human cost. Senior advisor to U.S. President Joe Biden offered another stark warning the day after U.S. officials confirmed that Russia has put together at least 70% of its military firepower. 70% of it is there. They're doing maneuvers, Mr. Putin. And the option of launching a full-scale invasion of the Ukraine is open to them. They're right there. And if war breaks out, we'll come to enormous human cost to Ukraine, but we believe that based on our preparations and our response, it will come at a strategic cost to Russia as well. No one's going to win from this.
No, nobody. I agree with that.
But the thing that worries me is the fact that China and Russia seem to be in the same bed together, sleeping there. And
that seems to be rearing its ugly head lately.
Yeah, it's us against them.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me a little bit of President Kennedy in Cuba and the missile crisis in the 60s.
Yeah.
And, it's a scary time.
Yeah.
I've never seen the world, never seen my country so pissed off, and I've never seen the world in such a bad way as far as political unrest and warmongering
and then add
is concerned.
COVID on top of it.
And then you add COVID on top of it. And then you add, if you're an Edmonton Oiler fan,
or a Montreal fan.
We're getting to sports a bit here. We'll get to sports in a minute. You've got another story there, don't you?
No, I'm good.
You want the Rogan one? Take the Rogan one. You're a fan of Rogan?
For the most part.
We'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah. I know. I'm a fan
I
of Joe.
just had a story, so I owe him a story, so I can give him a story.
Joe's been put in a tough position, but the streaming giant's not ready to part ways with the popular podcast host, despite intense criticism over his anti-vaccine comments and his use of racial slurs. When you paid a guy $100 million, they are not going to let you go that easily. In post to employees on Sunday, Spotify CEO Daniel Ek also mentioned that Rogan's racist language was incredibly hurtful and that the host was behind the removal of dozens of episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience. When you're in the public spotlight like that and you use racial comments, you're accountable. You are accountable for that.
I've been watching Rogan for the last couple of months. I just got onto the Rogan train, and he's a great interviewer.
Absolutely.
He pauses. He takes over an interview where usually the interviewer is a little overwhelmed by his guest. He turns that around, and his guests are a little overwhelmed by him.
Absolutely.
And he's excellent. But I don't agree with racial slurs. No. I didn't know that about him. He's tarnished his name with me a bit.
These videos cropped up from years ago. This isn't something that he did
Doesn't
recently.
Matter, though.
No, I get that. But it's people digging up dirt on him because of the anti-vaxxer, podcast that he did. The thing that people don't understand is that the guy he had on that was an anti-vaxxer, he also had a vaxxer on. And it was just a matter of opinions difference between the two. But somebody got pissed off because the anti-vaxxer pissed them off. But I agree with you. The racial thing, there's no place in this world for it.
Absolutely no. Absolutely.
I consider myself to be as white can be. But I don't care what color you are, what race you are. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. Bottom line. So there's no racial aspect here other than that.
I'm
aspect,
prejudiced against personality, not nationality.
Exactly. I agree.
You know, I mean,
But this puts Spotify in a tough position because, like I said, they've already paid him $100 million. Well, what do? Can the guy? He'll go, yeah, see you later. I'm keeping my money.
yeah, and plus he brings a lot of money into Spotify.
Absolutely. So
No, I don't know if I really agree with Neil and Joni and the rest of them for pulling their music. I can understand it, but Neil's always
you heard Scum of the Earth pull their music
Yes,
off
I
Spotify.
did, yes. And then they destroyed their hotel room in Cincinnati right after they did
After they did that.
And if you understand what we're talking about, you're really friggin' old, I'll tell you right now. That
Or you're too young.
You're
too young.
That was a WKRP episode.
Yes, Scum of the Earth.
Scum of the Earth that pulled their music from Spotify.
I hear Spinal Tap as well.
Spinal Tap, all right. What I found is today's generation of musician don't even know who Neil Young is.
No.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, Neil Young is a legend. I'm talking about the young kids who are dealing with Spotify and haven't got a clue who Joni Mitchell is or who Neil Young is or Scum of the Earth.
Even some of the podcasters have pulled themselves off of there too as well. So it's caused a lot of
But you got to
controversy.
understand, Spotify's in the middle. They paid this guy all this money. And you know, I mean, a guy that brings in revenue, are you gonna, as the guy that runs Spotify, you're gonna say, well, no, you're out of here? No, you're not, because you're protecting your nuts.
Exactly.
You're holding on to your chestnuts, buddy.
Absolutely.
Because that's 10 million chestnuts right there, or whatever it is.
100
million. Sorry.
100 million.
Well, you know, I mean, you and I don't make anywhere near that. Pretty close, but
a lot less zeros on our paycheck.
Yeah. But I do admire him for his show and his talent, but I don't agree with the racial slurs.
No.
I didn't know about that last week when I talked about him because I didn't see them. And it didn't come to light because I didn't see his early shows. I've been watching. But he's an excellent interviewer.
Yeah.
And,
Almost as good as I am, but yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can't go around dealing like that.
Well, we want to talk about our radio stations we've got out there. Of course, we've got FM 108.ca, you know, 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, 60s, and 70s type style of music. Great shows on there as well. We have our Air Radio News on there.
Air Radio News, weather, sports, every hour. We have 2 national radio stations. Radio GTA is our free-form radio station. We have Bill Smith on the weekends, commercial-free from noon to 6. We have Big Daddy in the morning. Of course, I'm on all of them. Leah's on GTA in the afternoon. FM 108 is basically an outgrowth of the station that we were all on 45 years ago.
Yep, same one out of Burlington.
With the same, apart from Rock and Robin, we have all the same DJs, Mark Panopoulos, Bert Toms, Glenn Darling, Clint Truman, myself, and of course we have local radio in Halton Hills as well. But our national radio is cool. Talk about sports briefly. The Leafs have been doing well.
Pretty good, other than they shit the bed the other night. But
Well, that's all right. They're playing Calgary, who have won like 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Calgary's been playing well. Edmonton in the shitter. Montreal in the shitter, definitely. They got mauled by the Devils, of all people.
I saw that.
My grandparents could beat the Devils right now. You know what I mean? They're a terrible hockey club. 7-1, and they were beaten. 7-1. Vancouver, wishy-washy. Ottawa's been winning.
Yeah.
The Raptors, they're
Doing
4 games.
really well.
They've won 8 in a row, baby.
Doing very well.
And, you know, so our sports, thank God we have that outlet.
We got our Leafs. They're doing
And I'm
pretty
going to
good.
take the Bengals, my son.
Are you? Yeah, I'm going after the Bengals
I'm
too
going
as well.
just because of their quarterback and what he did with pathetic organization last year.
Yeah.
Finished last. Now they're going to the Super Bowl, baby. That's what football's all about.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, that's the sports. And don't forget the Canadian Country Countdown every Saturday morning. Indie Country Countdown from 6 to noon. Great way to start your Saturday
it's a
with
great
your
show.
breakfast.
It's a great
And,
show.
It's all Canadian country indie artists.
Yep.
All Canadian. Now, what are we doing now?
All right, we want to remind people it is Valentine's Day. So the Appalachian Pub's got a great special going on. Spoil your loved ones with a fantastic 3-course meal. That's going on from February 11th to the 14th. Order yours today at 905-877-9888. It's $39 $95 per person, and like I said, it's a 3-course. You've got your starters could be either crab cakes, 4-cheese blue dipped with pita, cauliflower bites. Main course, you got pork schnitzel, giant Yorkshire, salmon Wellington. All entrees are coming with mashed and seasonal veg. Your dessert, New York cheesecake with berry coulis or warmed apple blossom. Either one for your dessert. $39.95. If you mention on the vlog that you saw it here on the vlog, you will save some money. So mention it to them that you watched it right here.
Don't forget
Save
that.
yourself some dough, and you and your loved one can sit down to a beautiful meal on Valentine's Day.
All right. We certainly have fun with the national show. And again, you know, we're not, this isn't the CBC, this isn't CTV, this isn't global. They're fine organizations, but we're very laid back look at what we're doing. We're kind of like two guys sitting in a restaurant talking about stuff, eating fries with gravy at the Appalachian. And you have to remember, we run 2 national radio stations, FM108.ca, GTA.ca. We support Canadian tourism, the National Tourism Board of Canada, high on our list. And on social media and on radio, every day we promote a different small town in Canada.
Absolutely.
When we post our weather, because we're proud of Canada. And there's a lot of
beautiful small towns, man.
People that live in Toronto, you might think, oh, do you know Buddy up there in the Yukon? Yeah, I saw him the other night.
Yeah,
you know?
we were having dinner.
We're in such a big country that it's nice to see what other areas are like.
Yeah.
Like BC and the Yukon, the
Northwest Territories,
Northwest Territories,
Northern Quebec,
Newfoundland, the Rock, my son.
Yes.
You know, George Street and all the pubs.
Yes.
We've got so much in this country to offer, and when COVID takes a hike, we would love you to come to Canada. And if you do come to Canada, you have to come to Canada's hometown, Halton Hills, and the Appalachian restaurant, and have some fries with gravy. And by then, you'll be able to pick up your Acton dinner jacket right here. We got all kinds of plans. But hey, expanding community worldwide from Canada's hometown, Halton Hills, Ontario. We are the Air Radio Network. And thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Have yourselves a fantastic week. Check for our videos next week right here on Air Radio News. For Big Daddy Russ Horton, I'm Lee Lakin. Have a fantastic week and be safe out there.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Booger!